they're corrupt, and they lost, it looks like, to a syphilitic clown, total moron, con man, Donald Trump. So if you lose to a buffoon like Donald Trump twice, what does that make you?
So let me ask you. Hang on, guys. Hang on.
I got an echo, by the way.
I want to ask you a follow-up question because can you listen? Hang tight. Cenk, question for you. Truly a question that you're a business guy. You've been running a business for a while. You're not with one of these mainstream guys. You're not MSNBC. You were in the past. You came from you left. You said you're going to do your own thing. Young Turks, it has a history of doing great things, millions of subscribers on what you've been able to pull off. But let me ask you, are you at a point where maybe the American people are just sitting there looking at a few policies being presented by the Democrats saying, this is just weird?
That's a very good point from, what's his name, our boy, what's his name, Patrick Bet-David. It's a very, very important point. I think there's a lot of policy that have been passed by the Democrat that starting to drive them crazy. And also even defund the police, that they don't talk about it anymore. The fact that they were talking about it that long, that's going to scare a lot of people off, man. It's just going to scare a lot of people.
Are you at a point that you're willing to accept that some of the directions the party's gone, they're losing Democrats? Democrats are leaving the party because it just doesn't sound like the John F. Kennedy Democrats from 50, 40, 60 years ago. It's just a very weird party today. Is that where you are, or no, you just think they have bad leaders?
So it depends on which side of the policy you're talking about. So if you're saying economic policies, our economic policies are super popular. So paid family leave, which most Republicans agree with.
From according to the polls, those are popular, but for some reason, I'm gonna tell you guys something weird, right, about Trump. The way Jake says it says it kind of okay. He's like a second-tier marketer. For some reason, if you bring Trump and tell him that if Trump said that I'm gonna give you a sick family leave or all those things, I'm gonna buy what Trump says more. He has the swagger of a marketer. And when he says things, you want to believe him, you want to go with him. There's an underlying thing that's very, very mysterious about Trump that nobody will ever understand. Me, I think Trump is a very mysterious guy. There's many people like, that's why all the poll pundits, all those people, they failed. They do not understand that people were going to come out for Trump. Trump is a mysterious guy. His name is Trump on top of it. He trumps everything. And he avoided assassination attempt. People trying to kill him while he was turning his head, the gun, the bullet went over there. So nothing can takes him down. Even a bullet doesn't take him out. He has God kind of protecting him, even though he's a dirty guy. You know, he's just like that. And he's got many Christians protecting him. And they're saying that he's holy. He's a holy man. A lot of Christian men said that Trump is holy. Like, you know, so it's amazing. I don't know. He's able to pull off things that nobody will ever pull off. I wish I was like Trump. I'm not lying to you guys. This is going to sound weird. I wish I was like him. I like the guy's swagger. I like his market. I like his brand. But when I go inside my head and I start to think about it carefully, I'm like, this guy is like a very corrupted and scary guy. And we are voting for him. I'm an independent guy. I'm not Democrat or left. I'm not Democrat or Republican. But I'm like, this is interesting that everybody voted for him like that. This was a total sweep, man.
Higher wages, most Republicans agree with. Money out of politics, most Republicans agree with. But when you talk about some of the social issues, I warned some of my leftist friends, do not go too extreme. So I believe in trans rights, but saying that trans detainees should get taxpayer-funded surgeries makes no sense, and I knew that it would be deeply unpopular. But leftists sat there and said, no, we know everything, Cenk. You've been on there 22 years, you've got 27 million subscribers, but you don't know anything. This is going to be super popular. So my leftist friends, how'd that turn out for you? So we are honest on the Young Turks. So you've got to be keeping it real. We're populists. But hear me now, and you'll quote me later. Donald Trump is a crook, and he's going to rob you guys blind.
Dave, let me ask one and it'll come to you. Let me ask one, I'll come to you guys. Cenk, we have Dominic Tarczynski here and Dave. They have a question. They'll come to you here in a minute. But let me ask you this question. Your opinion about Trump, you and I talked about it when you were on the podcast last time. You said you thought you were a better businessman than him. What has he done in his life? Well, we had that conversation. I totally get it. I even brought it up on Rogan's podcast that I don't agree with you there. But it's your position. I totally understand. Here's a question I got for you. Your show with Anna Kasparian, the two of you guys together. I've been watching Anna closely, and a lot of people have. She's kind of right now like, dude, what the F is going on? This doesn't make any sense. Why are you attacking me? There is a major community that is thinking Anna, who went from the position she had 5 years ago, 7 years ago, some would have called her maybe a socialist. Where she is kind of like right now, maybe even becoming a libertarian. I'm not saying a Republican or a conservative.
I do agree. This guy PBD, I love this guy. It is true. There's something going on with Anna. A lot of people take like her that she's a white supremacist, she's a far right-winger, she's trying to appeal to the white base. There's a lot of people. The left has an intense in their mindset. There's no mercy. There was a lefty woman that I met. You know what she told me about Trump? She had beef even with Byron. When Byron was a little kid, Byron, the kid, the son of Trump, I told her, hey, that's a kid. He's not involved in anything. You gotta leave him alone. But even with Byron, it's like, yo, dude, she had a problem with Melania. Me, I have no problem with Melania. That's a wife. Even though I had a little issue with Trump, even though I'm not a Trump fan, and I'm scared of Trump, like, I cannot say that, like, I'm going to go after Melania, now I'm going to go after Barron. Those are kids, dude. Like, the left has no mercy. They go after anybody and they pull out their knife and on anybody. The only way that you can stay with the left is if you say that transgender is the greatest invention ever, and if you say that everything is okay, we should teach transgender at the high school, and we should allow all the immigrants to come in and allow them to be gay, and we're going to help them do surgery. If you say something like that, then they're going to say, okay, you're white, you're a lefty. You know what I'm saying? And there's another thing about the left, what I see is like there's a competition in the left between each other, and I personally think it's not healthy. You know, there shouldn't be a competition.
But maybe a little bit of a libertarian independent. You're around her the most. You're seeing that taking place. Why do you think she is moving? How are they losing someone like Anna Kasparian, who's very talented, very capable, very formidable? Why do you think?
So again, it depends on if we're talking about economic issues or social issues. So in economic issues, she still believes every single thing that she believed. On crime and homelessness, I would argue, and I have argued with her on air, that we haven't changed our position at all. What happened was the Democrats did a switcheroo in California. So we voted for a ballot measure where they didn't tell us that they would take some felonies and move them to misdemeanors. Well, if you don't put it in the ballot measure, how the hell are we supposed to know? So now California is reversing that tonight. Because you know who likes crime? No one. No one. Okay. So if you're a leftist out in California and you pretend there is no crime and we should move like domestic assault into a misdemeanor, we disagree with you, but we've always disagreed with you. So I think that it's really the Democratic politicians that are corrupt and a few leftists online that have gone too far. But when you talk about the core of the Bernie Sanders economically populist positions, they are still massively popular, and tons of conservatives agree with them.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the question. Hi, Cenk. Nice to see you. It's Candace. Hi. So my question for you would just be, I mean, I think we can all agree that this is a tremendous referendum on the left, right? I mean, you brought out Taylor Swift, you've brought out Beyonce, you've brought out LeBron James. You guys have used every vocabulary word available to you to explain to the American people that Trump is a dictator, he's literally Hitler, and the American people seem to be rejecting that resoundingly, right? Does that at all signal let me just ask you blankly, what does that signal to you as someone who I think has contributed to that rhetoric? Is it a signal to you that just all the American people support a dictator, or does it maybe make you go, maybe I'm missing something here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not missing anything. So I've been telling the corporate Democrats, stop kissing the ass of the donors. They're not here to help us, they're here to rob us. By the way, I would tell the Republicans the same thing. I would tell you guys the same thing. Trump's donors are going to rob you blind. So these corporate Democrats took the donor money and they ran campaigns that were not populist. What they did was they ran campaigns that were anodyne, boring, didn't actually attack Trump on his number one problem, corruption, the fact that he's a fake populist. You know why? Because they don't even understand populism. They are the establishment. So the real problem is the establishment of the Republican Party like Mitch McConnell and the establishment of the Democratic Party like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Nancy Pelosi.
Okay, thank you very much. I do not have a question. I would rather have a comment as a member of the Parliament, European Parliament, who was called a fascist, Islamophobe. I was called all these names. And I'm happy that we have this moment of silence now, because I would like to remind you, these people are lecturing us about unity.
How not to pay off your credit cards. I owe $20,000 on my cards. How fast can I pay these off with minimum payments? 109 months, so you'll pay.
So I would like to remind you again, they are talking and lecturing us about unity. So now you have a chance to practice what you preach and show the whole nation what the unity in democracy means. You have to have a class to lose, because if you don't have a class when you're losing, you have no right to win.
Economically populist positions, they are still massively popular, and tons of conservatives agree with them. The real problem is the establishment of the Republican Party like Mitch McConnell and the establishment of the Democratic Party like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Nancy Pelosi.
Okay, thank you very much. I do not have a question. I would rather have a comment as a member of the Parliament, European Parliament, who was called a fascist, Islamophobe. I was called all these names. And I'm happy that we have this moment of silence now, because I would like to remind you, these people are lecturing us about unity. So I would like to remind you again, they are talking and lecturing us about unity.
No, but I also feel like Cenk, I feel like one thing. It's not a bad thing that Donald Trump is elected for the Democrat. I think for the Democrat, it's not a good. I actually don't think it's good for the Republican. I actually think it's a weird way of looking. I have a weird way of looking at things. I think it's actually bad for the Republican, because he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna do bakwa. He hires so that all the justice there. And now after it's like a woman that goes back to the old husband, and that the husband's going to totally he's gonna take over the whole world. He's got the justice, he's got everything. He's gonna have everybody arrested. He's gonna build concentration camp, and then all those Latinos are gonna be like, wow, this I don't like Latinos, but I don't hate them that much. You know what I'm saying? Like.
So now you have a chance to practice what you preach and show the whole nation what the unity in democracy means. You have to have a class to lose, Because if you don't have a class when you are losing, you have no right to win.
I personally don't think that's a good point. You have no class to lose, then you cannot win. You know who did this? It was Donald Trump. He had no class to lose, but he still won. But still, like, you know, like, this is like funny that you're saying something like this. But whatever, man.
Cenk, go for it. Go ahead, Cenk.
Yeah, this brother isn't even American. So I don't know what the hell he's chanting USA for. I'll chant USA, not you, okay? And so, second of all, you're talking about losing with class when that bitch Donald Trump tried to steal an election, set to terminate the Constitution, or set off a riot, that he didn't mind if his vice president was murdered, bum rushed the Capitol, tried to destroy our democracy. He's the very worst in losing with no class at all. Here I am telling you that I think the Democratic Party did it wrong. I think they ran a wrong campaign. They're relying on the donors. They've got the wrong strategy. So we are honest about what goes wrong in the Democratic Party and what goes in the Republican Party. Are you guys honest about the fact that Donald Trump tried to steal an election? He's got no class at all.
Patrick, if I may, just one sentence.
Cenk, go for it.
Okay.
Dominic.
Guys, if I can ask you for another moment of silence.
Who the hell is this guy? Are you Viktor Orban's cousin?
Okay. Yes, I'd like to have a conversation. I would like to answer. You asked me why I am in US now. Because I was invited and I came here with my passport. So I was invited, Patrick invited me as a politician to come to US because as a European, as a Polish, I do recognize US as a leader of the free world, and I pay my respect to this country.
Good.
And I came here, my friend, and I came here because I used to live under communism. My country was under communism, and Reagan with John Paul II freed our country, and I will be always grateful to the Republicans of the United States for the freedom of Poland and Europe. And my presence here in America is my way to pay respect to those who freed the world from the communism. And that was America and John Paul II. And I do not want communism back. And Kamala is a communist.
Kamala Harris is a corporatist. She's furthest thing from communist. Her problem is the exact opposite. She'll do anything for a corporate donor, which, by the way, she shares with Donald Trump. And by the way, I came here and my family came here because we love America, and I'm always going to fight for America.
Cenk, what do you love about America the most? When you say I will always fight for America, what is America to you?
So it's freedom, it's opportunity, it's justice. We lived across from a place called Fair Chance Farm, and that is the essence of America. All we want is equality of opportunity for us to have a shot and our kids to have a shot at the American dream. That's why I'm a populist. I believe in the average American, not in the donors class, not the billionaires. And I got news for you. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. He's a giant billionaire. He is not a populist. He's not for the average American. He's going to get more tax cuts. He's going to get deregulation. They're going to rob this place blind. You're going to, you can disagree now, but you will agree with me later.
Wow.
Because we've always been fair. We've always been honest. And those guys are going to do nothing but deliver for themselves and not for you. We should be delivering for the average American. Our housing prices are through the roof. Why? Because of Wall Street. Because of the private equity guys buying off all of our homes. You should be fighting against that, not helping support billionaires rob the place blind.
But you know, Cenk, there's a part of it that you're right. We talked about that earlier, where we said 4 years ago it took $75,000 your salary to buy a house. Right now it's $120,000. But that happened under Harris and Biden. So I mean, these are some of the things where even right now Powell is lowering the rate. Nothing's happening. Interest rates are not dropping. So the average person is just sitting there saying, look, we gave you guys a shot. I thought he was
I think what PBD is more correct about this. The average guy doesn't read about everything. They're going to look at things like that. They're going to look at inflation. They're going to look at little things. They're going to look at, was America safer? But I don't understand the America safer. There was Black Lives Matter riot. There was COVID. A lot of people died. Trump totally bungled the COVID thing, but they still think that it's better. I don't know. But they look at the first 3 years. They say that it's Trump years. They don't look at like it's Obama years of economy. I think it was Obama. But this time Trump is really being tested, whether he's a real guy or yeah. But I have a feeling inside of me that Trump might trump everybody. I really believe that. This guy, I'm starting to believe in this guy. Like when I see that they're trying to kill him and he overcome it, and when I see that the DOJ went after him, they was not able to get him, I'm starting to believe that this guy is a different human being than any other human being I ever met in my entire life. I'm not lying to you. He's a one of a kind. Trump is a one of a kind. There's nobody like him. And I'm gonna sit still and I'm gonna be like on both sides. Because you can trump people in amazing thing. You can trump people in bad things, but you never know. He might trump us in everything. And if he does, I'm gonna clap my hand. And you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say that I did not vote for this guy, but I wish I did. I'm not lying. I'm gonna say that. I will say that. If after 4 years I see that he does a lot of incredible things, I'm going to say that you guys that took the chance, bravo to all of you guys. Because it looked like I should have, and I can say that. But like I couldn't vote because I saw January 6th, I saw all those things, you know. You never know. He might be a quieter president. He might be more quiet, more careful, more calculated. You never know. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I don't think people will change at 80 years old. I don't think 80 years old is the age of change and recognition and awakening. I don't know. But let's see.
Be the unifier. I thought he was going to be the peace. I thought she was going to fix the border. She never once visited that place until it was too late. Don't you just look at this and realize they just didn't deliver on their promises and the ideas are outdated and doesn't work? Are you able to say that, or no, we just need a different leader? Again, same question.
Yeah. So Patrick, you know that I fought tooth and nail against Joe Biden. I even ran against him in the primary. And I called out everybody who was pretending that he was young and dynamic, and I said he's not on the right track. So the problem isn't Democrat versus Republican. And a lot of Republican voters understand this, and they call it the uniparty. Corporate Republicans and corporate Democrats are on the same team. And I appreciate right-wing voters who realize that Mitch McConnell's a crook. And I wish Democratic voters would replace and realize that Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and all those guys are also crooks. So all of those establishment Republicans and Democrats have let Wall Street and the donor class rob us. And that is why we have these rules that allows private equity to buy all the homes and drive up our prices. We've got to replace them with populists, true populists.
I personally believe that that's never going to work through populists. I think it's going to be populist with a hybrid of corporatists. And so I'm not like Cenk UYGUR. I'm not like a maniac that's going to say ask for true populism. I think this is kind of why Trump is winning. He's a populist in a way, kind of like halfway, mixing it up with corporate, because corporation is what runs America also. So Trump is giving some sort of respect to the corporation. He wants to give no respect to the corporation. We have to respect them. I work for a corporation. My life is depends on a corporation. Both Uber, Lyft, all the corporation I'm dealing with. Everything that I buy in my house right now is from corporation. So I don't know what Cenk is talking about. The corporation are a big deal. We have to have like a relationship with the corporation that's kind of friendly. But we can because they are in our life. There can be complaints also. I think everything works better as hybrid. I think we need to have a hybrid populace, and I think that's what Trump is able to deliver. I think he's a hybrid populace.
Vince, you gotta stop dropping your mic. You're scaring the crap out of people. Yeah.
Jenny, is that him?
Cenk.
Just want to say this.
BRB, Cenk, because they just called Pennsylvania for Donald J. Trump.
And there's one other and. By the way, there's one other and. You know what the other and is? Tom just told me they also called Alaska. Tom is saying that's going to be done with. So at this point,
that's it, man.
Officially
that's
over?
it. Donald Trump's president.
That's a wrap. It's over.
It's over.
Wow.
One last note, Patrick.
Come on. Trump.
So, Cenk, go for it. I'll give you the last word before we come back over here. Go ahead, Cenk.
Yeah. So, guys, I love that USA chant. Keep that loyalty to America, not to politicians. So I have no loyalty to any Democratic politician, and you shouldn't have one to Republican politicians. So hold Trump accountable. Please be honest. And if he does right, then I'll say it. But if he does wrong, please, for God's sake, value America more than any politician, including Donald Trump. Thank you, guys.
Please turn him off.
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, Cenk.
Thank you, Cenk.
Thank you.
One of the best decisions I ever made in my life was.
Wow, so that was an amazing part show here. Yeah, like, you know, he tried his best. Jake tried his best, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he tried to deliver to this thing, but like nothing means anything to anybody. That is amazing, man. That is amazing. Like, okay, let me see what Calculus got to say now.
All right, guys. So one of the things that I don't see much talk about right now, even though it's kind of a gigantic deal to me, is that something's going to happen with Trump's 91 criminal charges now that he's president-elect and he will be president again. Namely, the criminal cases are just thrown out. They're just done. They're over. So this is something that I wish the media reported on more heavily beforehand. I wish they gave people all the specifics and the information of the crime.
So this is what's weird about America. You can run for president if you're a criminal. I did not know that. Like, that's interesting. Like, I thought that. So Trump criminal cases are done. So there's nothing we can do now.
That he committed. They didn't do it. They talked about it like the day we learned about the crimes, but I don't even know if they ever went through the indictments. I don't even know if they ever gave people a digestible explanation of what he did and why it's bad. But now that he's president-elect and he will be president, the criminal cases are flat out dead in the water. Now, you might be thinking, well, Kyle, why is that? That doesn't make much sense to me. The answer is very simple. The only way to go after a president is impeachment. And if you impeach through the House, which, by the way, Trump was impeached through the House twice, but if you impeach through the House, then it gets to the Senate, where you need a supermajority of senators in order to say, okay, we're going to remove you from office. And that would be the punishment for a president who's impeached. Is it goes through the House, there's a trial in the Senate. If a supermajority in the Senate says you're done, you just get kicked out of office. Criminal charges are a totally separate thing, right? But what's for sure is there's already a precedent in the U.S. where you cannot criminally go after a president because, you know, the idea is, hey, there'll be like, there could be countless frivolous lawsuits and you don't want the president spending all of his time fighting back against those lawsuits. So now the 91 criminal charges against him are over and done with. So let me break this down for you a little more, because at the end, I'm going to give you a little bit of a silver lining here, but there's an asterisk by the silver lining. So the criminal cases against Trump. One of them was, of course, the classified documents case. And that was, ladies and gentlemen, the most slam dunk case of all time. The evidence was as high as Mount Everest. He stole classified, top secret documents. There's very clear reporting and even audio tapes of him bragging about the contents of classified secret documents to billionaires at Mar-a-Lago. One of them involved talking about nuclear secrets to some Australian billionaire. He very famously in the Mar-a-Lago ballroom had boxes stacked to the ceiling of classified documents. He also had them in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. The other thing is they were able to catch him red-handed doing obstruction of justice with those documents. What he would do is he would take them from one room and tell his workers to shift them to another room, and then he had them destroy videotapes of them moving the boxes. And, you know, there were people who were willing and ready to testify that Trump had told them, you got to move those boxes, which is basically him admitting to obstructing justice. He basically held off the FBI and the Justice Department for like a year when they were like, hey, we're going to need those documents back, and he handed over some, but he kept hiding others. And it's the most slam dunk case I've ever seen in my life. This is not a situation where it's like, oh, a president accidentally took one box of classified documents and nothing important is in there, and he hands them right back over when the FBI says we need those back. This is him like taking countless classified documents and doing wildly illegal things with them, things that should be state secrets. He's just blabbering about them all over the place and obstructing justice and not handing them back over, and it's just clear crimes. Well, what happened in that case is it went to a MAGA judge. The MAGA judge is Aileen Cannon. Aileen Cannon basically threw every wrench into the machinery and blocked it 15 ways to Sunday and effectively threw the case out. And her final argument dismissing the case was like, even the idea of a special prosecutor, which is what Jack Smith is, that's unconstitutional. So literally any and all special prosecutors are unconstitutional, even though we've had countless special prosecutors over countless decades with countless presidencies. Doesn't matter, it's unconstitutional. She threw that out. So the number one slam dunk case against Trump was already thrown out before the election. But there were other cases. So the one that is probably the most prominent and the one that was the most hopeful was, of course, the Jack Smith case against Trump. So the charges for that one, this is all over January 6th. This is all over the fake elector slate. This is all over attempting a coup and an insurrection. But the charges were conspiracy to defraud the United States. And the idea behind that is, you know the results of the election in 2020, and you just want to throw out millions of votes to keep your ass in power. That is defrauding the United States of America, lying about the outcome of the election. Conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. That was when the January 6th mob made it so they couldn't certify and validate the election at the original time. They had to postpone it because of the angry mob storming the Capitol and committing violence. There's obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, similar charge to the last one, and conspiracy against rights, which again is, I believe it's a civil rights era law, and it goes back to the idea that you are throwing out, you're denying people their rights if you're taking their votes and saying, I'm discounting this and I'm saying I won, right? So here's the thing, guys. And again, this is where the media drives me crazy, because it was incumbent on them to explain this stuff to people and make it clear. And if they had done that, would the election potentially have been different? If this is something they talked about day in and day out and really highlighted how horrible this stuff is, maybe it would have been, right? It's counterfactual. We can never know. But this is for sure. They didn't talk about this almost at all. So Trump acknowledged to one of his co-conspirators. This is all in the Jack Smith indictment. It's all available to read publicly. Trump acknowledged to one of his co-conspirators that the rigged election claims were, quote, crazy. So in other words, Jack Smith is saying he knew he didn't win the election and he still tried to steal it anyway. When Trump tried to get Mike Pence to overturn the results, and Pence said no, Trump said, quote, you're too honest, Mike. Again, further evidence, he knows he's lying when he says he won. Trump worked with co-conspirator 4 to open sham election crime investigations, where they would have bogus claims and then use that to try to like seize voting machines and things of that nature. This is all on the record.
This is what I feel about what's going on in America right now. I personally believe, I really believe that the human nature is something that we never understand. I believe that if you do something wrong to somebody and you ignore them and you keep shitting on them, you put a knife to their throat, you treat them like garbage, and then you got somebody else, like a guy like El Chapo, right? El Chapo, a very evil person that comes, even though that El Chapo guy is committing a lot of crime, but none of those crimes is affecting that person, right? You gotta look at the crime that are affecting the person. If none of the crime are affecting the person, then the person might be like, you know what, I can deal with El Chapo. He doesn't hurt me. But you're hurting them. So they might get rid of you. So I think that's what's going on with Trump. All the crime, the 94 conviction crime of January 6th, I hate to say this, even for me, January 6th did not affect me. Like literally, there was not a knife. I did not suffer from January 6th. It was sad to see, but I did not suffer. But when you're a Democrat, you're playing the game of immigration and you put a bunch of immigrants on people's doorstep, that affects those people. You know what I'm saying? So that's creating that's a weird situation here. Like, well, what you do, you can be a criminal, you can be like El Chapo, and you do a bunch of crimes, you kill a lot of people, but you don't kill me. And I might be like, yo, you're still a good guy if I'm putting you against somebody that does a bunch of bad things against me. And that might blur my vision. That's what I'm saying. I think that's what's going on with the Trump phenomenon. The Trump phenomenon is that many people bring out all the crimes that he did. But Trump is marketing himself that he's done a lot of great things for you guys. And he's focusing on you guys, America first, and he's not going to fill the place with a bunch of immigrants. So people are going to look at this like, wow, this is more for me. As far as your crime, it's you, it's your life. It's not my life. You see what I'm saying? So save me. Like, for example, this is what I mean. Let's look at it two-way. Okay, let me explain to you exactly what I mean. Let's say that there was a fire in your house, right? And you had the fire department and you had like a convicted killer. And the convicted killer figured out a way to come and save you and got you out of your burning house. But the fire department was laughing at you and saying that there's no fire. So the fire department is like the Democrat. Let's say that they were playing that game, right? And they say, oh, there's nothing is going on, nothing is going on. And that was their job to save you. And they did not save you. But the guy that's a killer, an assassin, a criminal, a convicted felon, he's the guy that kind of saved you. You might be more sympathetic to him. It's weird. Because you might see that the way that person dealt with you was good, not the way they dealt with the past or other people. I think the Trump phenomenon has that kind of dynamic for me. I don't know if you guys agree with me. I think that's what's going on. Immigration, crimes, all of those things affect me personally. January 6th doesn't mean shit to me. January 6th means something for the elite. You're an elite, you don't like to see the fall of democracy. Me, I don't care about the fall of the democracy if I'm struggling. I might even give up democracy. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm going to give up democracy, but I'm just going to say I'm willing to play a little bit, to shake the world a little bit so that you can give me what I want. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what's going on a little bit. You guys let me know what I think. You know, I'm not fully sure, but I think there's a little bit of that going on in the Trump phenomenon. Nobody will know ever what really happened, but this could be part of the situation. Thank you, guys. Subscribe to my channel, guys. Thank you.